All right, welcome football fans. It is that time of the week again, presented by the USFL Network. We are Polar Opposites, your favorite USFL debate show. I am Ace at Pocket Aces _ USFL on both Twitter and Instagram. And joining me, as always, the Fighting Fedora himself, Webb. How you doing? Where can we find you?
Good. You can find me on NOLA Breakdown and at USFL Network Web on Twitter.
Heck yeah, you can. All right. So, Webb, what are we discussing today on Polar Opposites?
We're doing the South's best defensive players. So we've chosen a few players from each team to highlight to get ready for the season, man. The season's coming so fast, man. This is great. It's
great. Coming wildly fast. But yes, we are doing the 4 Southern teams, and we're picking the best defensive player for each team. So we'll highlight a couple, but we will inevitably pick one per team. And then afterwards, we'll post a poll. You can tell us who won the debate.
We didn't even do a poll. I couldn't even win last week. We didn't do a poll.
I know. Last week we didn't do it. It was a busy week.
It was.
A lot of interviews, new shows. It was a cool thing. But what team you want to start with?
Let's start with Birmingham.
Birmingham Stallions. All right. Who's your guy?
Brian Mills, my runner-up. That's what we're going to go with first. Brian Mills and Aaron Adoye. I think Adoye, him and his brother, I just think the world of them. And then Brian Mills is probably the best nickel corner in the league, I think.
That's fair. He's very fast. Yeah. I don't know if you would necessarily draft your nickel quarterback as your first corner.
No. I think he's going to be the nickel corner. He's too small. He's too small. He's electric. I think
he's pretty tall.
He's 5'7". For my number.
Maybe I have that wrong. I have Brian Allen as a tall corner with decent speed. But
Brian Mills.
Brian Mills. Okay.
We're polar opposites. We're on opposite. Brian.
Yeah. No, you're right. But the knock I have on him is that he comes from a small school.
Yeah.
And we haven't necessarily seen him against better talent.
Yeah.
I would have chosen Brian Allen because I think Brian Allen is he's a dominant number one. If they have a tall wide receiver, maybe not a blazing fast guy, Brian Allen could probably lock him down all day.
Yep.
But Brian Mills is a good choice. But you said that Aaron Adoye is your number one.
No, my number one is Scooby Wright. Those were my runner-up.
Scooby Wright.
Oh, yeah.
I thought about Scooby, but why'd you pick Scooby?
I think he fits perfect into John Chavis, and I've talked about John Chavis a couple times now. I love this defense, and I think John Chavis defense starts with the middle linebackers, so he dominated college football. I know it was 8 years ago, but I think he'll be a veteran presence on this team. And I put the Birmingham Stallion defense at number 2 originally. So I'm a big fan of this whole unit really working together. But who you got? Go ahead.
I got their defense a little lower, if you remember. Yeah. But I thought about Scooby. My biggest thing that I did not like about Scooby is that he is not necessarily a coverage guy. Yes, he's a big run stuffer. He's a big guy. He's got deceptive speed coming out of Arizona, but he just couldn't cover that well. But you know who does both of those things is DeMarcus Gates. And it's DeMarcus spelled possibly the coolest way I've ever seen. DeMarquis Gates. That dude is a beast. Fantastic speed, played at Ole Miss against great SEC talent and was dominant at pass rushing while literally locking up tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. And on top of all that, he hits like a house. So I think he is their best defender, honestly. I think Scooby Wright will be a great presence. He'll be a great leader. But I think as far as plays go, DeMarcus Gates is going to be the guy.
That's fair. Like I said earlier, I love this defense, so we're good. We're good.
All right.
What do you got for Tampa? We'll save our teams for last. Who you got for Tampa?
Okay, I was about to say. Okay, for Tampa, bro, I got to go with Obi Melifonwu. I love him.
We're matching here.
Okay, we'll count it a wash because I don't even want to try and debate that. I love Obi.
Yeah.
I used to be huge into Madden franchises, and he was always a free agent, and I would pick him up in every single franchise I joined and put him at linebacker because he is fast enough to be a corner. He's big enough to be a middle linebacker, and he covers so well with his height and his length. He really does cover super well at the safety spot. I think he moved around. He bounced around in the secondary, and I think safety, that's where he belongs, and he dominated at UConn. That guy is a beast.
6'4", 224, man, and as a safety. That's
what I'm saying.
That is and he can go sideline to sideline. He can even blitz. Like he might be the best defender in the South. Honestly, one player.
He might be.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm biased towards my team and my defense, but I believe that Obi is one of them. Like he's gonna be a guy that people are going to see. You're going to see some jerseys at games. After a couple games, people are going to be ordering those. Yeah. He's a beast, and he deserves us to agree on it.
Do you got any runner up? Any second guys, third guys, any guys?
No? Actually, Mekhi Brown. Weirdly enough,
God, we're agreeing way too much today. All right,
I'm just kind of he is a huge talent. Yeah. He had a blowout in the national championship, kind of ruined his name a little bit, but I think that he's going to come back with a vengeance. And I do think that he is one of the better talents in this league. I think Tampa took him. Yeah. They thought, he has some baggage, but if he can show it on the field, people will forget. And I think they're right.
Yeah, I agree. We agree completely on Tampa. So we'll go to.
We will not on the next teams.
Yeah, probably not. We'll go to Houston.
Okay.
You want me to give you my?
I want to know yours.
Odom, the DN from Arkansas State, man. He's
okay. So you can't really go wrong with his defense, and I agree that Chris Odom is an absolute monster.
Yeah.
He's so good. He's, I said it earlier, deceivingly fast. I said that for Scooby Wright. He is fast, and he's super powerful. And in the pass rush game, I mean, he's dominant. But my guy, I'm super excited. And you might think I'm going to say DP because I love that man. But I didn't want to go too obvious. Reggie Northrop.
You want to see my list? Do we share a list?
No, we never do.
My number 2 is Reggie Northrop, and
is it?
And your number 3 is probably what? Corey Thomas?
No, it's not Corey Thomas. It would be Andrew Soro, the safety.
Your front 7 is awesome. So go ahead.
The front 7 are so good, but we'll get into it in the preview. People are knocking the secondary, and I just can't. But Andrew Soro is my number 2. He's 6'2", 205. He was basically FAU's Earl Thomas. The dude could fly out there. He ran a 4.5 40. He picks balls off left and right, and he hits so hard. I think that Andrew Soro, hidden gem that people just don't know about because, like I said, he played at FAU. But I think he's dominant. But Reggie Northrop, dude, the speed of a safety, power of a defensive end. I mean, he always meets at the ball. And if he's not impersonating Terry Crews' robot dance, he's crushing anyone that gets near the ball. He's, not to mention, he's an undefeated MMA fighter, which is super cool.
Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He's been posting a lot of videos. He's teaching footwork and sparring to the other linebackers. They're all doing that in the workout room. So
DP is?
Yeah, all the linebackers. Oh, Reggie Northrop's got the pads. They're punching it. He's like left, right, pivot. Dude, cool videos. It's cool. Awesome.
That's cool. What's also cool? I'm going to compliment your team while we got a minute here.
All right.
You guys are the only ones that seem to be gelled. Like no roster moves, no nothing. Like everyone.
I know.
Up. Like that's a good sign, right?
Oh, it's got to be a good sign. And the biggest thing that I would say is that, we're following everybody in the USFL, all the players and stuff. And the players that I see get along the absolute best and are always posting videos together are gamblers. Offense, defense. They seem to be gelling. They seem to be enjoying it. So I'm really excited. I think the chemistry is there game 1.
Well, beat Michigan.
But now we're going to beat Michigan. But now we get to go to your team, the Fighting Fedoras. Who you got?
Adonis Alexander. I think he's the best corner in the league. And Devin Bellamy, the DN, the number 1 pick, right? The first defensive player. Played at Georgia, so he's athletic. Pressure the quarterback. The linebacker crew is going to be – it should be good with Chavis, Diggs, and Fernandez. But so we're going to play 4-3. I'm not 100% sure if you knew that. But,
okay. I did not know that.
So we only have 3 linebackers on the roster.
Which is wild.
Well, Chavis wasn't a linebacker. He was listed as a safety originally, but talking with Diggs and Fernandez, actually, they told me that Chavis moved up to linebacker. So
because they had 2.
Yeah, because
How? That's insane.
they got rid of Wallace. He was released, so I don't even know. That was not a no show. So it seems like we're a little thin at linebacker, but if you look at Fedora's history, he plays a lot of 4-2-5. So are you, you know what I mean? Like with his roster size, are you really shallow there? I don't know.
I did see that, and I do think that he's going to do a lot of creative things
Yeah.
to make up for the fact that he, maybe doesn't have the depth at linebacker. That dude, watching the Gamblers, they have 5 linebackers right now, and they run a
Yeah.
3-4, but they have an extra. They're bringing people down to DN, picking DNs up to play linebacker sometimes. But I think that the Breakers, like you said, running a 4-3, it is less dependent on linebackers as much as it is line.
Yep.
And so I think that they will work with it well. And they might even get to pick another person up. But my guy is Jared Fernandez, the inside linebacker. Out of NC State, he lit it up in the CFL with the Ottawa Red Blacks. He's pretty good in coverage, honestly, and he's a great tackler. He may not hit the absolute hardest, but you won't get away from him. He's going to secure tackle you. He's going to get you down. And I think as far as middle linebackers go, that's more important. You can hit as hard as you want, but if you're not bringing someone down, it doesn't matter. And I think that he will be the staple guy in the middle of that defense in a 4-3 where you have one true middle linebacker.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I really think they're going to go 4-2-5 because, like I said, Chavez was a safety.
Yeah.
So they're going to use Diggs and Fernandez basically to split the field and then have all the D-backs around. So we'll see. But
they could also use Chavez as more of a dime package where it's kind of a linebacker safety role, and that would be really cool to see. Actually, I'm a defensive guy. I love that stuff.
Well, our first game is against the Giant Stars, so we'll be using a lot of.
You will need a lot of secondary.
Yeah, secondary. So
yes,
we'll see. We got some roster moves that we can make too. So before we sign off, out of all these teams, who do you think has the best by unit defensive line?
Defensive line?
You can study this. Yeah. Out of the 4 teams, who do you think has the best defensive line? Go ahead.
It might actually be the Breakers.
Wow. I was going to say the Houston Gamblers, but
were you really?
I was.
I love our defensive line. I think our linebackers overshadow them because they are great, but I think the linebackers overshadow them. But with David Bellamy, Henry, Saint Amour, James Folston Jr., Shakir Soto, I think that's a really good unit, and they're going to be rotating them a lot, and they're going to keep them fresh. I think that it actually will be really impressive.
So the best linebacker you think is Houston, right?
100% best linebacker unit is Houston. I've watched all of the highlights, and they are the most just like defined and less raw, rough around the edges. They will come in game 1 and look like a unit that is played together,
And then defensive backs, who do you think out of the 4 teams that we talked about?
I want to say the Gamblers just because our defensive coordinator literally has been a defensive backs. He played corner for the Packers and then was a defensive backs coach for about 25 years. So I think he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. Tell you the truth, I think
it might be
three of the teams probably are kind of similar, in my opinion. I think Tampa, Houston, and Birmingham are kind of all similar. So
yeah.
And then
all right.
I think New Orleans has the best corner. The
best corner, I'll give you that. They do have the best corner.
The whole unit, but
no.
We'll find out in a couple weeks. So
all right. Well, that was episode 4.1 of Polar Opposites. Tell us your thoughts on our thoughts when we post a poll after you've watched this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Tip the hat, Fedora style.